The first scream came from the back of the cabin. Then silence, thick, breathless, unnatural. Dr. Amara Cole looked up from her seat in first class, heart slamming. A young man, black, maybe 19, was slumped against the aisle, gasping for air. His mother was sobbing, her hands trembling as she tried to shake him awake. Amara rose instantly. "He's having an anaphylactic reaction," she said. "Get the epinephrine now." The flight attendant froze. Blonde bun, polished smile, cracked at the edges. "Ma'am, please sit down. We'll handle it. He'll die if you don't move," Amara snapped, already reaching for her bag. "Security protocol," the attendant said, voice cutting sharp. "You're not authorized medical personnel." Amara pulled out her ID. "Dr. Amara Cole, medical license." "Let me help him." The attendant's eyes flicked over the card and then up at her face. A pause. A single chilling beat. "We don't need trouble on this flight," she said quietly. "Sit down." The boy's breath hitched once, then stopped. The mother's scream tore through the cabin. Amara's pulse hammered in her ears. Around her, silence folded like a noose. Dozens of eyes, white, wary, watched her, not the dying boy. One passenger muttered, "Always looking for attention." Amara's vision blurred. Her hand shook as she whispered, "You just killed him." The attendant's face didn't move. "Please remain calm," she said. "We're landing soon." Outside the window, the clouds broke, cold light slicing across Amara's face. And in that light, she made a promise. They'd learn her name before the plane touched ground. The cabin smelled of metal, burnt coffee, and panic. Dr. Amara Cole sat rigid in seat 2A, wrists trembling against her lap as the hum of the jet engines returned. Steady, cold, uncaring. Across the aisle, the boy's mother rocked her son's body, murmuring words no one could hear over the oxygen hiss. "Ma'am, please sit down," the flight attendant repeated. Her voice was mechanical now. Detached. Amara's throat burned. "He's gone. You understand that? You let him die." The attendant avoided her eyes. "Please remain calm until we land." A passenger in business casual muttered, "Should have followed the rules." Amara turned, stunned. "Rules?" Her voice cracked. "A child died." He lifted a hand. "Nobody's blaming you, ma'am. Just don't make it worse." The words sliced clean through her chest. The pilot's announcement came seconds later. Neutral, pre-scripted. "We will be making an emergency landing in Atlanta for medical assistance. Please stay seated and cooperate with the crew." But the boy was already gone. Amara stared out the window. Clouds churned below, endless and white. Her reflection looked foreign. Eyes wide, jaw clenched. She felt like she was watching herself from outside her own body. When they landed, security boarded first. A woman in uniform gestured. "Dr. Cole, correct? Please come with us." Her mouth went dry. "For what reason?" Questions about the in-flight disturbance. The word disturbance struck like an insult. Behind her, whispers bloomed. "She got aggressive," she yelled. "It's always something." Amara was escorted off the plane before the boy's mother. Cameras glinted from phone screens as she passed. Inside the terminal, fluorescent lights washed everything flat. She was led into a small white room that smelled faintly of bleach. 2 TSA officers stood by the door. "Sit down," one said. Amara sat. A man in a gray suit entered. "Airport security chief. Dr. Cole, you were involved in an incident aboard Flight 218 from Dallas?" "I tried to save a life. Your staff stopped me." He raised an eyebrow. "We've received multiple reports that you became physically confrontational." She blinked. "Confrontational?" He slid a tablet across the table, blurred footage from a passenger's phone. It showed her standing shouting for help, the attendant stepping back. No sound. "Just image." "She refused medical care," Amara said through her teeth. "That's the truth." He looked at her over folded hands. "That's not what the official crew statement says." Her heart pounded. "Then your official statement is a lie." He didn't flinch. "We'll need you to remain available for further questioning." Amara's phone was taken, her bag inspected. Every item removed and cataloged like evidence. When they finally released her hours later, dawn was breaking. She stood outside the terminal, alone, watching as the boy's body was carried past the glass in a stretcher bag. The mother followed behind, unseen by the cameras. Amara whispered to no one. He should still be alive, somewhere above. Another flight roared into the clouds. Amara watched it rise and thought, next time, I won't be silent. Dr. Amara Cole's apartment was filled with the sterile hum of silence, the kind that clung to walls after too much news, too many unanswered calls. Her laptop glowed dimly on the kitchen table, a half-written report open on the screen. Subject, fatal in-flight negligence, Flight 218. She had rewritten the opening line a dozen times, each version colder than the last. None captured the truth. A child had died and the world had already begun to forget. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number, she answered anyway. Dr. Cole speaking. Dr. Cole, this is Richard Baines from Delta Sky Corporate Affairs. A man's voice said, smooth and clipped. We've received your multiple communications about the incident on Flight 218. I filed an FAA complaint, she said. You should have received that through official channels, not my inbox. He chuckled softly. Of course. We just want to assure you the matter is being reviewed internally. In the meantime, we'd appreciate your discretion. Discretion? She repeated. Yes, for privacy and legal sensitivity. We'd hate for any misinformation to circulate before the full context is established. Amara's jaw tightened. The full context is a boy suffocating while your employee watched. He paused, voice dropping lower. Doctor, I understand you're emotional, but these situations are complex. Our staff followed FAA protocol. If you persist in distributing unverified claims, unverified, the company will have to protect its interests. The line clicked dead. Amara stared at the phone, breath shallow. The edges of the world felt sharp again, like glass under her skin. She opened her email and began typing faster. She sent new copies of her report to every address she could find. FAA Incident Desk, Airline Safety Division, and one more to a civil rights watchdog group. Each message came back with an automated response. Received, under review. Then, nothing. By the fifth day, the news cycle had moved on. The only trace of the story online was a small paragraph on a local blog. Minor in-flight medical emergency results in precautionary landing. No foul play suspected. No mention of the boy's name. No mention of Amara. She clicked the article again, watching the words blur until they meant nothing. Her inbox pinged. One new message, it was from a private email. Subject, they paid me to stay quiet. Her chest froze. The sender, Gloria Daniels, the boy's mother. The message was short. They sent men from the airline, said they'll cover the funeral if I sign something. I don't understand the papers. Can we talk? Amara didn't hesitate. She called. The line rang twice before a fragile voice answered. Dr. Cole? Yes, Mrs. Daniels, I'm here. I didn't know who else to call. They said if I speak to media, they'll sue me for defamation. Amara felt her pulse rise. They're intimidating you. Don't sign anything. But the funeral, I'll take care of it, Amara said quietly. Don't let them silence you. A muffled sob came through the line. He just wanted to see his grandmother in Atlanta. He was so excited. I keep thinking if you'd been allowed to help. Amara pressed her eyes shut. We'll make them answer for it. After the call, she opened a fresh document titled Evidence Compilation, Flight 218. She listed everything she had. Time-stamped video, partial. Passenger witness statements, unconfirmed. Flight manifest. Security footage request, pending. FAA complaint. At 124 A91, it looked thin, fragile, easy to bury. That night, she met an old friend from her DC policy days, Marcus Bell, a transportation consultant now working at the Department of Transportation. They met in a quiet diner off 14th Street. Rain streaked the windows like moving glass. Marcus leaned forward. You really want my advice? I wouldn't be here otherwise. He glanced around before speaking. They're not just ignoring you, Amara. They're suppressing you. The airline's legal division is tied into half the transportation oversight committees. You push too hard and they'll blacklist you. I'm already blacklisted, she said flatly. He sighed. You can't win this alone. I'm not alone. That boy's mother, she'll fold under pressure. They always do. They'll drag her through the mud until she disappears. Amara's voice dropped to a whisper. Then they'll have to bury me too. Marcus looked at her for a long time. You're still advising the White House, right? You could go straight to the top. Amara shook her head. Not like this. They'll turn it political before it's human. He leaned back. Then what's your plan? She looked out the rain-streaked glass. Truth, on record, documented, irrefutable. Marcus gave a humorless laugh. You think truth survives the news cycle? She turned back to him, eyes hard. If it's written right, it does. He hesitated, then slid a folded paper across the table. Friend of mine at the FAA owes me a favor. That's your complaint number, 124A91. It's marked closed in their system. No explanation, Amara unfolded it. The status field glared in red. Case terminated. No action warranted. Her pulse thundered. They buried it already. Marcus's face was grim. Told you. She folded the paper carefully, slid it into her coat pocket. Then I'll dig it up. When she stepped out into the rain, thunder cracked over the city. For the first time since that flight, Amara smiled, not with relief, but with resolve. They want silence, she murmured to the storm. Let's give them a reckoning instead. She pulled her hood up, the paper still clutched tight in her hand, and disappeared into the rain. Each step deliberate, heavy, and alive with purpose. The glass conference room looked like something from a magazine. Oak table, chrome fixtures, sunlight hitting polished surfaces. But beneath the gleam, the air felt weighted. Dr. Amara Cole stood near the end of the table, her laptop open, slides waiting. Her own reflection stared back from the screen. Tired eyes, steady hands. Across from her sat the firm's leadership team. They weren't looking at her. Before we begin, said Robert Lyle, senior partner, clearing his throat, we've decided to reassign the civil engagement proposal to another team. Amara blinked. Excuse me? It's not personal, Robert said, folding his hands. Just optics. Your involvement in the airline situation has raised some visibility concerns. She straightened. Visibility concerns? Clients are skittish. You understand how these narratives spread? Amara held her gaze steady. A boy died, Robert. This isn't a narrative, he sighed, and I respect that. But our firm advises Fortune 500 boards. We can't take political positions, especially not during an election cycle. A young associate, pale and silent, shifted uncomfortably beside him. No one met her eyes. Amara closed her laptop. You're saying human life is bad for business. That's not what we're saying. It's exactly what you're saying. Silence. Then Robert offered a thin smile. Take some personal leave. Let things cool off. You'll still have your retainer. She stared at him, realizing the decision had been made long before she entered the room. And if I don't? He gave the kind of shrug that ends conversations. Then don't expect your seat here when you come back. She gathered her files, each motion precise, almost surgical. Understood, as she walked out. Voices resumed behind her, low, polite, safe. In the elevator, the walls of glass reflected her from every side, multiplying her silence until it filled the space. That afternoon she sat alone in her car, watching the city move outside her window, people rushing to meetings. Coffee in hand, earbuds in, untouched by grief. Her phone buzzed again. A message from Marcus. You were right. FAA internal correspondence leaked. I can't send it directly, but check the timestamp. They marked your report resolved before it was even filed. She felt a dull, cold pressure in her chest. The system wasn't broken. It was functioning exactly as designed. That night, Amara returned home and turned on the television. A cable news panel debated the incident for 30 seconds before pivoting to election polling. One commentator chuckled. We don't even know if race was a factor here. Her hand clenched the remote. She muted the TV. In the silence, she replayed the boy's mother's voice in her mind. The tremor, the pleading. She thought about the flight attendant's eyes. How calm they had been while death unfolded 5 feet away. She opened her closet and pulled out a worn cardboard box labeled White House Projects, 2019. Inside were folders, memos, policy drafts. She flipped through until she found it. Diversity compliance in federal transportation contracts. She'd written it herself years ago, before the politics. Before the compromises. She remembered the meeting vividly, sitting across from senior advisors who praised her clarity, but removed the teeth from every recommendation. They had wanted language that sounded moral but cost nothing. Now the same system that softened her words had hardened against truth. She sat on the floor, papers scattered around her. The apartment lights hummed overhead. Her phone buzzed again, another message. Unknown number. Dr. Cole, this is Ellen Price, FAA Legal. Please refrain from contacting airline employees. Your behavior is being reviewed for professional misconduct. Her jaw locked. Professional misconduct, she whispered. Repeating it like a curse, she typed a reply, then deleted it. Instead, she opened her laptop, created a new folder titled Public Evidence Vault, and began uploading every file she had. Video clips, email threads, the conversation with the boy's mother, the FAA letter Marcus had smuggled out. When the progress bar hit 100%, she stared at the screen. She whispered, "If they won't hear me in the boardroom, they'll hear me in the court of public opinion." But even as she said it, doubt crept in. She'd seen public outrage rise and fade like summer storms. That was when she remembered the words of the senior partner, said years ago after a corporate audit. "You don't change systems by yelling at them. You infiltrate them quietly from inside." She smiled bitterly. "Then I'll infiltrate the silence." The next morning, her ID badge didn't work at the office gate. Security checked the system and said, "Your access has been revoked, ma'am." "By who?" He looked down. "Corporate directive, sorry." Amara stepped back. The city skyline shimmered in glass behind her, indifferent and immaculate. She turned away, dialing Marcus. "They've started the cleanup." "Then it's time to get louder," he said. She looked up at the sky, the faint trace of a plane cutting across the morning light. "Louder, yes," she murmured, "but not noisy." There was something in her tone, measured, dangerous, alive. That night, Amara drafted a memo to herself. Operational goal: shift narrative from isolated event, systemic exposure. Phase 1, verify suppression network, FAA plus airline. Phase 2, record first-hand testimony. Phase 3, controlled disclosure. At the bottom, she added one line: do not stop when they apologize. Stop when they are transparent. The next morning, she emailed Gloria Daniels. Subject: it's time. The reply came back an hour later. "I'm scared, but I'll do it." Amara exhaled slowly. The machine was stirring, and this time she would not let it sleep again. The neighborhood was quiet, the kind of quiet that follows grief. Rows of low beige houses lined a narrow Atlanta street. A faded tricycle rested against a fence. The sky was washed pale, the air heavy with the promise of rain. Dr. Amara Cole parked by the curb, hands still on the wheel. For a moment, she couldn't move. The house ahead, small, stooped, curtains drawn, looked like it was holding its breath. When she finally knocked, the door opened just a crack. "Mrs. Daniels," Amara said softly. The woman's eyes peered out, red, sleepless, older than the week that had passed. "You came. I promised I would." Mrs. Daniels stepped aside, letting her in. The living room was dim, half-packed with funeral flowers gone brown at the edges. A folded suit hung over a chair, too small now, too final. They sat at a small table. The air smelled of cold tea and lilies. "I'm sorry," Amara said, meaning every syllable. Mrs. Daniels nodded but didn't look up. "They called again," she murmured. "The airline people said they just need my signature to finalize the settlement. Said it's the only way to move forward." "Did you read the document?" "I tried. It's full of words I don't understand." She reached into a drawer and pulled out a thick envelope. "Here, you read it." Amara unfolded the papers. Her chest tightened as she scanned the text. Non-disclosure clause. No admission of fault. Binding confidentiality. A check amount printed neatly at the bottom. $50,000. Her voice hardened. "This isn't compassion, Mrs. Daniels. It's silence for sale." The woman's hands shook. "I can't bury my son without it." Amara swallowed the anger rising in her throat. "You shouldn't have to choose between dignity and survival." "I just want it to stop," Mrs. Daniels whispered. "The calls, the looks, the reporters outside the church. They say I'm trying to make money from tragedy. You know how that sounds? Coming from them?" Amara leaned forward. "You have the truth, Gloria. That's your power. Don't trade it." Tears welled up in the woman's eyes. "Power doesn't bring my boy back." The words landed like a stone in the air, too heavy to move, too honest to challenge. Amara exhaled slowly. "Then let's make sure it stops someone else's child from dying the same way." Mrs. Daniels looked up at her for the first time. "And if they come after me?" "They already have," Amara said quietly. "That's why I'll stand beside you." The woman's lips trembled. She reached across the table, hand shaking, and pushed something forward. A small plastic case, an unused EpiPen. He had two, she said. One was in his backpack. The other, he carried in his pocket. I found this after the funeral. Amara took it carefully, her thumb brushing the expiration date. He trusted the system more than it trusted him. Mrs. Daniels nodded faintly. He said, Mom, planes have doctors on them. The silence after that sentence was unbearable. Amara pocketed the EpiPen, as if holding proof of a broken promise. I'll keep this, she said. It's evidence now. Mrs. Daniels' shoulders sagged. Do you really think anyone will listen? They will, Amara said. But they'll fight not to. Outside, rain began to fall, soft at first, then steady. Amara stood on the porch watching droplets trace lines down the railings. Her phone buzzed in her coat pocket. A text from Marcus. Media interest heating up. Some network sniffing around your name. Be careful what you say. She typed back. I'm not hiding anymore. Then she slid the phone away and turned to look at the small house one last time. Through the rain-slick window, she saw Gloria Daniels sitting at the table, staring at nothing, lips moving in silent prayer. Amara understood that kind of prayer. It wasn't for peace, it was for endurance. She walked to her car, rain soaking through her coat. She drove without turning on the wipers, letting the world blur. When she reached an overpass overlooking the airport runway, she pulled over. Planes lifted into the storm one by one, engines roaring, slicing the sky open. Her reflection stared back from the window, wet, fierce, unsleeping. Amara whispered, You deserved better, kid. Then she opened her recorder and spoke aloud, voice steady over the sound of rain. Testimony Part 1. Recorded by Dr. Amara Cole, October 12th. Subject, systemic negligence. Coercive settlement, maternal intimidation. Evidence includes non-disclosure documents and physical proof, the unused EpiPen. This record is made under oath of memory and conscience. She clicked save. Somewhere above, thunder rolled like applause or warning. Amara started the car again. The next address on her list waited on the passenger seat. Claire Henson, flight attendant, residence confidential. And beneath it, written in her own hand, Truth never lands softly. Claire Henson lived in a quiet cul-de-sac north of Dallas. White fences, trimmed lawns, wind chimes, suburban peace that looked rehearsed. Dr. Amara Cole parked a block away, waited, and watched the porch light flicker on as dusk settled. She had spent days tracking Claire down. Airline HR denied her existence. News archives scrubbed her image. But the internet never forgets. One LinkedIn profile photo buried under a maiden name was enough. Now Amara sat in her car, watching the woman who had refused to move while a child died. When Claire stepped outside to water her plants, Amara got out, recording app already running. Claire Henson, she said. Claire turned, startled, then defensive. Who are you? Dr. Amara Cole. You remember me from Flight 218. Recognition hit like a shadow across Claire's face. Her hand trembled slightly around the hose. You shouldn't be here. I'm not here for a fight. I'm here for truth, Claire's jaw set. You need to leave before I call security. Amara stepped closer, calm but unflinching. You looked at my ID, you knew I was a doctor. You watched that boy die because you were afraid of me, not of breaking protocol. I followed procedure, Claire snapped. Passengers aren't allowed to interfere in medical emergencies unless cleared by the captain. The captain wasn't in the cabin, Amara said. You had 30 seconds. You made a choice. Claire's eyes darted to the neighboring houses. Curtains twitched. You don't understand what happens when a black passenger starts yelling midair. Everyone panics. You think I wanted that? Amara's tone sharpened. He wasn't yelling. He was dying. Claire's voice cracked, but she didn't stop. You people always turn everything into race. You don't know what it's like having 100 eyes on you, waiting for you to make one wrong move so they can call you a racist. The words hung there, ugly, raw, self-pitying. Amara didn't move. So you froze to protect yourself. And a boy stopped breathing while you protected your image. Claire's voice broke to a whisper. You think I sleep? You think I don't see his face every night? Then say it, Amara said softly. Say it on record. Claire's eyes filled, but she shook her head. They'll fire me. They already did, Amara said. Your suspension was public. You're the scapegoat now. The system that trained you will devour you to protect itself. But you could change what happens next if you speak. Claire looked down, the hose still running, water pooling at her feet. "Everything I did," she whispered. "They told us to do. De-escalate, contain, avoid confrontation. I didn't think. I just followed the manual." Amara's voice steadied. "The manual didn't tell you to ignore a dying child. You did that on your own." For a long moment, there was only the sound of water hitting concrete. Then Claire's shoulders shook. "You don't get it," she said. "It's not just fear of doing the wrong thing. It's fear of who you are when you do it. They tell us we're the face of safety, but we're just—" Her voice trailed. "We're just faces that can be replaced." Amara pressed stop recording. Claire flinched. "You recorded that?" "Yes," Amara said. "It's not about destroying you. It's about showing how the system breeds people like you. Obedient, fearful, detached." Claire's lips trembled. "What are you going to do with it?" "Make sure the truth outlives the apology." Claire looked away, whispering something Amara almost didn't catch. "You think it'll matter?" Amara's answer came quietly. "It already does." She turned to leave. "Wait," Claire said suddenly, voice cracking. "I didn't hate him. I just didn't see him. Not really." Amara stopped at the edge of the driveway. "That's the problem, Claire. You never had to." She walked back to her car. The evening air smelled faintly of wet concrete and fear. Inside, she replayed the recording, Claire's confession half broken, half justifying. It wasn't clean evidence, but it was human and damning. She uploaded it to the secure folder labeled Phase 2. Testimonies. The file name auto-generated. Henson Statement 1 MP4. Her phone buzzed. A message from Marcus. "Got word from an investigative journalist. Ready to publish when you are." She stared at the message, thumb hovering. Then she typed, "Send it." Every second we wait, the lie grows stronger. Before she hit send, she looked back through the windshield. Claire still stood in her driveway, motionless. Water still pouring from the hose onto the grass, like she was trying to wash something away that never would be. Amara whispered to herself, "No one gets clean in this." Then she pressed send. The video hit the web on a Wednesday morning. It wasn't dramatic, no music, no editing, just a woman's trembling voice recorded in a quiet Texas suburb. But by noon it had 10 million views. The headline read, "Flight attendant admits to racial bias in in-flight death. I just didn't see him." News anchors called it the recording shaking corporate America. Twitter called it the confession that broke silence. The airline called it unauthorized content under review. Dr. Amara Cole sat in her office at the Capitol, blinds half drawn, her phone buzzing nonstop. "Cole," said Marcus over speaker. "It's everywhere. CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera. They're calling it the invisible passenger." Amara exhaled slowly. "And the airline?" "They've launched an internal investigation, fired 3 supervisors and, get this, issued a statement saying racial dynamics are being overanalyzed." She gave a hollow laugh. "They just confessed without confessing." Marcus's tone sharpened. "You're trending, Amara. They know who you are now." "Let them," she said. They wanted silence. "They'll get scrutiny instead." But even as she said it, her phone lit up with an unknown number. She ignored it. It rang again, then again. Finally, she answered. "Dr. Cole, this is Agent Rivera, Department of Transportation, Civil Rights Division. We need to talk." Her throat tightened. "You saw the recording?" "Yes, and so did the president." She went silent. Rivera continued. "You're now officially listed as a whistleblower under federal protection. But be advised, corporate counsel is already preparing defamation claims. They'll come after you hard." Amara's voice stayed even. "They can't sue the truth." Rivera replied, "They don't need to win. They just need to bury you in paperwork until the story dies." After the call, Amara sat in silence. The city outside her window felt suddenly sharper, louder. Sirens, traffic, the hum of headlines forming. Then came the email flood. Subject: Urgent. Network interview tonight. Subject: Flight crew member request contact. Subject: Cease and desist notice. Her assistant, Lila, knocked and entered quietly. "Ma'am, you should see this." She handed Amara a tablet. The screen showed a shaky phone video taken by another passenger. The moment of the boy's collapse. Someone had leaked it too. The footage showed Amara kneeling, the mother crying, Claire frozen. But now paired with the confession, it was undeniable. Who released this? Amara whispered. No one knows, said Lila. Anonymous upload. But it's real. Within hours, the airline's stock plummeted. Protesters gathered outside airports holding signs. We see you now. Justice for Isaiah. That night, Amara met Marcus at a quiet cafe near the Potomac. The place smelled of burnt espresso and late-night decisions. He slid a folder across the table. Congressional committee wants your testimony. They're opening a subcommittee hearing on racial disparities in corporate safety protocols. Amara scanned the documents. They want me to go public. Marcus nodded. You already are. But this makes it official. She leaned back, exhaustion etched in her face. I never wanted to be a symbol. I just wanted accountability. He looked at her gently. Symbols move the world faster than reports do. She rubbed her temples. Claire's video was the spark. The fire's spreading now, but how long before they twist it? They already are, Marcus said. Corporate news channels are calling it a misunderstanding. One headline said, Emotional overreaction to airline policy. She stared at the screen as if she could burn through it. They still can't say the word racism. Marcus said nothing. Then Amara's phone buzzed again. This time a text from an unknown number. You think you're a hero? Wait until they see the full recording. See, Amara froze. Claire? Marcus leaned in. What does it say? She says there's more, he frowned. You think she's bluffing? No, Amara said quietly. She's scared. That means she's telling the truth. She opened her laptop and checked the upload logs. Her folder showed only one video, Henson Statement 1 MP4. But the timestamp revealed something odd. A duplicate upload had been attempted from a different IP address hours later, aborted mid-transfer. What if she recorded something else? Marcus asked. Or someone recorded her, Amara said. For the first time since the flight, she felt unease crawl up her spine. The truth wasn't finished. It was still mutating, growing beyond her control. Outside the cafe window, a TV screen replayed the leaked clip on loop. The boy's mother screaming, Amara's hands pressing to revive him. Claire standing back. Then the headline shifted to a panel debate. Is racism really the issue? Amara turned away. They'll never stop asking the wrong question. Marcus looked at her. So we give them the right one. How? Find the leak, he said. Before they do. She nodded, closing her laptop. Then we find Claire again. The hum of the city deepened as she stepped outside. The echo of chants, headlines and sirens merging into one restless, rising sound. Somewhere another video waited to surface, and Amara knew. The next one would break everything. 3 days later, the backlash hit like a storm. News feeds split into two. America's, one calling Amara Cole a truth-teller, the other branding her a race agitator with a political agenda. Talk shows dissected her every word. Anonymous posts accused her of fabricating the event. Hashtags rose and crashed hourly. At 6:12 a.m., her inbox flooded with threats. By 7, her home address was doxed. By 8, the airline's CEO went on live television. While we grieve for all affected, we cannot condone the reckless release of confidential materials, he said smoothly. Dr. Cole's video has caused undue harm to innocent employees and disrupted the investigation process. We urge the public to wait for verified facts. The screen cut to a panelist. Classic tactic, said Marcus later. Discredit the whistleblower. Shift blame. Humanize the system. Amara sat in her office, jaw tight. They're not defending truth. They're defending procedure. Then Lila burst in. You need to see this. She turned the monitor toward Amara. A fresh upload titled, The Full Recording, What Amara Cole Didn't Show You. Amara clicked. The screen showed Claire again. Same porch, same daylight. But now the video began before Amara's visible approach. Claire was pacing, on the phone. Her voice shaky. They said she's coming here. The black lady from the plane. I don't want trouble. Just tell legal I didn't mean it like that. I froze, okay? I froze. Then Amara's car pulled up. The same confrontation followed, but a small detail twisted everything. Claire's hidden home camera captured Amara stepping closer, voice low and deliberate. You think your fear makes you innocent? It makes you a weapon. Cut to Claire whispering, You can't use this against me. Then static. The video ended with the text overlay. Context matters. Manipulated clips don't. Amara's hands went cold. Marcus called within seconds. You've been edited. They framed it like intimidation. She stared at the comments pouring beneath the upload, so she bullied her. Professional victim. Cancel both. Her voice was steel. Who leaked this? Marcus sighed. It's a corporate counterstrike. They planted surveillance in employees' homes after the first video dropped. Claire's feed got pulled into their hands. She was right, Amara murmured. They were going to devour her. Marcus said, You have to go on record. Full footage, transcripts, timestamps, everything transparent. No, Amara said quietly. They expect that. They want me defensive. We go bigger. How big? Congressional hearing. Public record. No spin, Marcus exhaled. That's tomorrow morning. Good, she said. Let them try to edit live truth. The Capitol hearing room was packed. Cameras lined the walls. Protesters outside held signs, half in solidarity, half in fury. The chairman's voice carried. Dr. Amara Cole, you may begin your statement. Amara adjusted the microphone. The air felt heavy. I was a passenger on Flight 218, she began, voice clear. I witnessed a preventable death. I was denied permission to assist because I was seen first as black, and only later as qualified. That is the fact. A murmur rippled through the crowd. The system doesn't need racists to function. It only needs people trained to fear confrontation more than injustice. A senator leaned forward. Dr. Cole, are you accusing federal aviation policy of institutional bias? She met his gaze. I'm accusing our silence of killing people. The cameras flashed. Another official interjected. What do you say to allegations you manipulated video evidence? Amara leaned forward. I released truth. They released surveillance. The room went still. She continued, steady and deliberate. The recording they leaked omitted their coaching, their policy briefings, their internal memos. You want context? Fine. Let's include every protocol that told that flight attendant to see a threat instead of a human being. Her voice rose, raw but precise. I'm not here to win sympathy. I'm here to end excuses. For a moment, even the senators were silent. Then applause broke out from the gallery. Quiet at first, then thunderous. Cameras zoomed in on her face. Unflinching, tired, but alive with purpose. Outside, Marcus texted, You just went viral again. She replied, Good. Let truth do what it was built to do. Survive distortion. That night, as news networks replayed the hearing, the airline's PR firm released another statement. Effective immediately. CEO Richard Lang is stepping down amid public pressure. The ticker rolled beneath. Stock down 34%. Congressional review pending. Amara watched from her apartment balcony, city lights flickering below. The sound of distant protests echoed like ocean waves. Lila called. You won, Dr. Cole. Amara's reply was quiet. No one wins in stories like this. We just stopped losing. She hung up staring at the skyline. A single siren faded into silence. She thought of Isaiah's mother. Of Claire, maybe still awake, watching the world she helped build crumble. Justice had arrived, but it was scorched. Imperfect and late, Amara whispered. Let it burn anyway. The city lights reflected in her eyes like small, stubborn fires.